really sorry. Can't come to the phone right now. Please leave a message after the tone.
Hey Jordan, this is Mason. You need to start answering your phone. Another birthday, another voicemail. So, I heard this story I wanted to tell you. It's this story about a man that's grown away from the people in his life. When he's outside, it's almost like he's acting, echoing, just miming the person that he once was, just to get through the hours before he returns to his things. His things made him feel like he used to, like he did before he became the man that kept himself inside, the man who was waiting to find a story to tell. The man who would spend his spare moments gazing upon the uncreased spines of unread books he bought long ago, photos of moments he had left to gather dust, shelves of DVDs he had yet to watch, and looking at the equipment he had collected for projects he was never going to make. Maybe the man just liked to know that he ever got the bravery to make something, whether good, bad, or derivative, that the only thing that stood in his way was himself. But the man was unable to see past his four walls and the mental cage stopping him from living in any sense other than just vicariously through the people he watched on screen or read on page. The man wasn't living a life, he was observing others, living in a world of what was and what never had been until he wasn't living at all. He had left the world just as he had lived in it, sat alone in his room waiting for something to happen. Even in death, the man found himself back in those four walls and gazing down at his body. Knowing it was over, the man felt a smile grow on his face for the first time in what felt like years. He didn't have to worry anymore. No more long nights of great artistic shame or worries, of wasted days or potential. No more tomorrows. This was it. A man, his things, and what very well could be infinity. Stepping over his dead body on the ground, he moved straight for his bookcase, grabbing for classics he had been waiting for a moment to begin. Pages turned to chapters, turned to series, read in short order, and before he knew it, the man had consumed worlds and lives so much richer than anything he had known. Dog-eared pages and smudged ink would guide him amongst distant stars to the front row seats to every facet of reality, all before he found himself faced with the blank page sat before him all over again. The end of this journey that kept him exactly where he was while moving him a million miles away from who he had been. As his books piled up around him, his room grew to accommodate every book that came off his shelf, and before he knew it, he had lost sight of his own body. The floor, too. He was well on the way to reading every book he had ever wanted, and it didn't feel enough for the man. He couldn't help but want for something beyond his bookcase. So, after climbing over the stacks and stacks of books he had yet to still read, the man found himself in front of DVDs. He couldn't tell if it had been days or moments since he had passed away, but it had been so long since he had seen another person. He found himself sat right next to his television. Upon putting the first disc in, the film's warm colours danced around the man's face and through his mind. He felt transported all over again. Glorious technicolor and roaring sounds held his hand and guided him down familiar paths and on new voyages. The man got to see the history of his people played out in front of him, their dreams, their nightmares, successes and failures, and the man caught a glimpse of something else entirely, something that wasn't clear from the first film, but by the 48,413th had become clear as day. The man wasn't just seeing stories play out. He was watching his own story back, dissected and simplified down, whether it was in the look an actor gave or purely through what the man felt about another character. He was beginning to see the films were alive and were telling him things, whispers of who he wished he had been, echoes of what shaped him, murmurs of what could have been. As another film finished, the man sat alone in front of his television, seeing himself in the dark reflection. It now seemed that the man understood that person better and wanted to be kinder to him. He had seen all he could ever want to see. He had seen himself. He had reached so deep inside himself and experienced everything he felt there was to experience. But maybe he had left it too late to begin again. The man picked up his camera, wanting to tell his story, but upon looking through the viewfinder, the man simply found his white bedroom walls. He had let others paint pictures for him. He had laughed at their jokes and cried at their tragedies, and now he had died without so much as a thought to his own experiences, outside of facsimiles he found in stories that were not even his own. He found no story in these four walls. No life left to be lived, no adventure to be had. The man thought back to his things and wondered if his books were little more than the characters in them, his movies, the people that acted in them, and his equipment little more than the story being told in front of and behind it at any given time. He let the camera droop down from his eye, and as it fell away, the man caught something in the viewfinder he hadn't yet considered, the old photos that had been gathering dust. As he took in these moments, his moments, the man began to float away from the room and its four walls. He felt the sunshine bathe his skin. He felt the waves of the ocean crash over his feet for the first time again. The warmth of a birthday candle in a dark room full of people he loved. The flash of a camera during a kiss on New Year's. Looking backwards had always felt like a trap to the man, but holding his own memories before him now put things into perspective. He could now look where he came from and see it was just as meaningful and formative to him as the stories and adventures he coveted. With a smile across his face, the man looks back towards where he'd left his body on the floor. He props it up in his arms, giving it a tight final hug and letting the sunlight run across his face one last time before letting go. His worries of not doing enough and not reaching his full potential in life were silenced by the fact that he knew he had loved. He had smiled, and even though he had gotten himself lost along the way, he had mattered. It had all mattered. I don't really know if that was the exact wording or if I added and removed bits from it, but I feel like there's a message in there somewhere. Anyway, have a happy birthday, man. I hope we see each other soon. Bye.